So last night I had a dream and it was in two parts, but it was the two dreams were very similar. They seemed to me to be two separate dreams. And the first dream was, so I am currently employed in a GP surgery, and it's quite it's a large health centre, so there's loads of different rooms and there's loads of areas to go to for different disciplines and whatever. So it's quite a big building, but in this dream it was a big building, and I was trying to get to work. So I had gone into work in the treatment room that I was in, and I was speaking to the healthcare assistant in the dream, and all of a sudden we looked out the window and there was houses out the window, and this man had come out of his front door and he had about 4 dogs, and he had them all on a lead all together, and one of the dogs become really, really, really aggressive, and the dogs trailed him. The other dog took off and trailed him with the leads, and he had was being trailed on the ground. So of course my immediate reaction in the dream was like, oh, that dog has gone down and it's like so aggressive, it's biting, it's bit something down there. I don't know whether it's another dog or a person or what, but we need to go down. And that man has been trailed all across those stones. We need to go down and see if he's okay. So we went down, and I could see like one of his dogs. It was like an Alsatian, do you know, like one of those dogs where you would think, oh, they could be quite aggressive. So, and I don't come at me about, I know Alsatians are exceptionally trained, but they're working dogs. And in my dream it was like this dog was that type of dog. It wasn't like a Chihuahua, you know, this dog was going to have massive impact if it attacked someone. And it had bitten all round a man's head, and I had started to clean up the person that I had bit, and all of a sudden the dog had calmed down. It was just sitting there, and all the other dogs were fine as well. And the man that had been trailed, whose dog it was, cleaned him up and everything. That was fine. So that part of the dream had ended, and it shows me going back up, you know, to the GP surgery to start work. And as I got up in my mind, I was like, this is well past 9 a.m. This is and I couldn't see a clock or any time or anything. I didn't know what time it was, but I knew I had started work late because of this. And I was getting in and out of all these different rooms, and before I knew it, the time had gone on and I hadn't seen any of my patients. And I had got locked out of the room and I was searching and searching and searching where where the room was, the treatment room was that I needed to go to do my work. And I was starting to get very, very frustrated. And I'm looking all around this health centre. Is it this room? Is it this room? No one would help me. And I'm looking and searching and looking and searching. And eventually I did find the way back to the GP surgery where I was working. And I seen my boss and I was like, I am so sorry I'm late. I went out and I explained to her, like, I was helping with this man that got trailed across the road and the dog attacked, you know, something, and I sort of explained to her where I was and that I just hadn't turned up to work. And she was like, you know, all the patients are waiting. And I was like, that's okay. And then all of a sudden I heard this like slanderous voice from a patient sitting in the waiting room. And so my background before I went to the GP surgery was emergency care, and this patient knew this, and the patient said to me, her? What would she know about emergency care? I'm sure she can't even attend just for a simple appointment. And in my mind that struck me, that whipped me, and I was like, oh my goodness, these patients think I don't know how to do my job. And I started really getting like, letting these voices get into my head about like nearly imposter syndrome, about what I could do. And I was like, wow. So that was the first part of the dream. I eventually got back to GP surgery and I started work, even though it was really delayed. So then the dream changed and I'm back again at the GP surgery, and I can't find it. It's nearly like this big massive shopping centre, a massive shopping centre, and it's even bigger than the one in the first dream. the wellbeing centre, and there's all these different GP practices. So, and all the doctors' names were on the doors, and I kept walking through this big shopping centre that had a health centre in it. And actually, where I live, there is actually a shopping centre that has a GP surgery on the top of it. So maybe this is where this was coming from. And I'm going into every GP surgery to look for my doctor's name, and the GP I work for, his name wasn't on them. There's all these different doctors' names, and I would walk around this shopping centre looking for the directions, and there'd be all these like laneways off, and every time I went it wasn't my GP, and I started to get really, really, really frustrated, and I was saying to people, but where's this GP? Where's the opening to this GP? And I would constantly be saying to them, is it down here? Is it down here? And I started to get this overwhelming like frustration and real weariness where the tears were just falling down my eyes, and I was like, why can't I find this? I even went down out of the building outside across the road to where the hospital was, and I was like, is my GP over there? And I gone into this dwelling, and it was more like a community centre, community hall, and there was this young fella was cleaning and he had earphones on, and I said to him, do you know where my GP is that I should be working for? And he took the headphones off and he was like, no, it's not here, love. And I was like, right, okay. But in my mind it was definitely in that shopping centre. I needed to go back, so I went back over there again, and I'm looking, I'm on all these different floors, up and down, all these doors, all these distractions. There was like amusements, and it was wild. Not that it was confusing me. I would look at these things and go, people are here to be entertained, and that all these gadgets and all these things, but I needed to get to do my job. And they were nearly like distractions that were going on, and I was like looking at them all, but in my heart I was like, I need to find where I'm supposed to be working. I'm so late for my job. I am so late. And I met my boss, and she came out, my manager, and I said to her, where is the opening for my GP surgery that I am supposed to be working in? I am so late. And she's like, you are late, Emma. Everybody's sitting in the waiting room. But it doesn't matter, just go now. Just go and say, it's down there. And the tears, like, I was just filled with, why is this such a struggle? Why can't I find where I'm going? Why is this so hard? I am so tired. And I managed to find, it was away down the back, it was away, and I was like, why is my GP surgery away down here and not with all the other ones? Why is this so hard? And it must have been after lunchtime by the time I arrived, because in my mind it was 2 p.m. My lunchtime in work is between 1 and 2. And the crowds had already gathered in the waiting room, and I could see the crowds, and I was like, I need to get in there and set up my desk before all these patients come in. And I've like a briefcase and like equipment in my hand, I can't even really remember exactly what, and I start to push through all of the patients. And at the start I was like, oh, this is a bit rude, and then I was like, no, like, can you please move, you need to move out of the road, I need to get through so I can actually set up the room to be able to look after you. And I was like, beep beep, out of the way, and I started to get a wee bit more bold, and eventually got in. But by the time I got in, the GP seen me, and he says, Emma, come here, I want to speak to you. And I had this overwhelming sort of feeling of, he thinks I haven't turned up to work today, he thinks I don't want to do this job. And he brought me into a toilet actually, and he said, Emma, sit down. And I sat down, and the tears are tripping me, I'm so tired. And he said, Emma, do you want this job? And I was like, I don't know why you're saying that to me. Of course I want this job. I have turned up for this job. You don't understand the struggle that I've gone through to get here today. This has been really, really, really hard. But I'm here, I've come, I'm here. And he was like, okay, go on ahead. And I go out and I say to them, like, I'm really, really sorry everybody that I've been late today. I am going to see everybody, don't worry about it. Like, keep your appointments. I'm sorry that we're running behind. And they weren't too impressed. But they were like, okay. And then I went on with my job, and then at that I woke up and I was like, why did these two dreams were basically about the same thing? And I had a dream like this before where I was at a conference and I must have been there for teaching or something, like a training thing, and I had left to go to the toilet, and when I was on my way back from the toilet I couldn't get through all the doors. There's all these doors and I was so frustrated. I was going through all these corridors and doors and I couldn't get to the lecture hall where I needed to be to do the training. I eventually did get there, but these are like repetitive dreams, and this is what I've said before about repetitive dreams. Really take notice of them. So when I woke this morning I was like, Lord, those are very similar dreams. This is like nearly repetitive again. What is going on? And I think God's saying, Emma, I know this is hard for you. I see that you're like struggling to find the way, or you this has gone on multiple times now, and you're looking, but maybe I'm doing it on my own strength. I don't know. Or you could be telling me, don't worry, persevere, push through, keep searching, keep looking, keep going, because you will get to the end point. And even when I just said there, like when the GP said to me, do you want this job? It's nearly like God saying, are you ready to do this job? What I've told you that I want you to do, are you ready to complete? Like, do you want this job? Do you want it? Are you willing to put up? And I'm just so tired. And the last week has been a really difficult week, in my mind. And with something, it's like even in the dream, I'm like, something has to give. I have to find a way to go to where I need to be. And that's suppose what I'm really saying to God this week in my mind is like, all these distracting thoughts torturing me, and I'm still like, Lord, I'm holding on, I'm still going, like I'm not giving up on this, even though I feel like I do want to give up. I'm not going to, and it's taken a lot of energy and a lot of determination and perseverance, and I suppose that's what Paul talks about, endurance and perseverance, to finish the task. And that's nearly like what the doctor was saying to me, do you want this? Are you going to finish the task? So yeah, I need to really consider that dream, because if he keeps giving me, he's warning me, he's like warning me to keep going, not to give up, that this is the repetitive dream I had before was exactly the same dream. There was different occurrences in the dream, sometimes we would get out of the car and go in and do this and do that, and but it was always the car, always driving in the car. And I had that dream loads of times, and now this is like the third dream that I've had of the same similar thing, like open doors, but eventually in the end I find where I need to be. There is an end to it. I do get to where I need to be. It's just keep persevering, keep going. And actually a pastor had given me like a prophecy in regards to this as well, and he was like, Emma, God is showing me you in a car, and you keep looking for all the signs, and he'll show you them, and you'll know what to do because he'll show you. So don't worry about it, keep going forward and everything will fall into place. And I suppose that's what those dreams are like as well. Like, yes, you're knackered doing it, but you will eventually find the end. The end will come and you'll access it. So a bit battered and a bit bruised, but nonetheless get through. And maybe that's a word for someone, is like, I know what it feels like to be tired. I know what it feels like when God has said something and you're waiting for it to happen and it just hasn't happened yet, and it can really, really make you tired and weary. God sees that struggle. He showed me clearly me trying to get through all those doors, me trying to find the right way to do it. But help's on the way, because my boss was there and she was like, yeah, just down there, Emma. And like, I was exhausted, and at the end I was like, I don't know how I keep missing like that entrance. How did I not know it was down there? And then got there in the end and pushed through everybody. Even when I got there, when I got to the end, I still needed to push through the crowd to get into where the GP was to speak to him. And then, you know, he's saying to me, do you want to do the job? And I probably, even when I get through to the end of this, God's still going to ask me, are you sure you want to do this job? Well, all you can really say to that is, Lord, let your will be done. I don't know what that's going to look like in the end. I don't know. And the GP was like saying to me, you know, I've given you a chance. I give you this job. Do you want to do the job? That's what he was meaning. He wasn't being wicked. He wasn't being rude. He was very concerned. When he brought me in, he took me in privately, and he's like, Emma, I give you this job. Like, do you even want to do it? Do you know? I hope God not saying to me, Emma, you know, I give you this opportunity. Do you even want to do it? Maybe I'm being lazy. Maybe, I don't know. See, then there's like condemnation, but I think God's maybe just saying like, come on, G yourself up and keep going, keep persevering. So yeah, maybe that's what God has sent me to say today through my dream. Keep persevering. It's hard. It's so frustrating. It's so frustrating. Even in that dream, I am so frustrated. I'm so frustrated I'm crying. And I just am like, I just don't know where to go, and I don't know what to do, and I just felt really, really helpless. Until the manager turned up and she was like, yeah, go in there. I was like, it's been here all along. Oh, why did I not see it before? But I don't know. We're only human. God understands. God understands whenever we're weary and we're tired, and He'll send help to help you and speak into your life and just push through. But the thought that keeps coming back to me is, I was so frustrated, just push through that last wee bit, because when I found the GP surgery door, I was like, there's his name, thank God, right, we're here. But then the crowd of people, and I was like, I need to get by these. And I didn't want to be rude about it, but I was like, you need to move. You need to move out of the way and let me through. I need to get in to set up. And I suppose maybe that's where God's telling me, I've seen all the frustration that you've gone through and how far you've battled, Emma, but now you're in this transition bit where just push through a wee bit more, and you'll get to the end. And then, you know, I still maybe will need to make a decision at that time when this all comes to pass. Do you really want to do this? God never forces us into anything. He speaks kindly and gently. Do you really want to do this? He's not going to force us. He just doesn't. The Holy Spirit does not force us to do anything. And it's not Jesus saying to me, do you love me? It's not. It's more to do with the circumstance. It's Him saying, do you want this? You need to push through a wee bit more. So be on time, show up. And I was trying. I was really trying. So I don't know. I need to think more about the interpretation of that dream, and I always pray to the Lord, I know you'll give me the interpretation in like within the 3 days or so. Like it'll make sense to me. Yeah. And even when I woke up, I felt really tired, as in like I felt exhausted from the dream I had, if that made sense. Yeah. I always just look at Paul in those circumstances and all what he went through, and it's not easy. But we're still called, you know. God used Paul so much, even with the thorn in his side. He wouldn't remove it. But Paul kept persevering, and look at the church that was built out of that as well. So that's where we need to see the bigger picture, is by me being obedient and doing what God's calling me to do, even with a thorn in my side, even weary, even tired, even being persecuted, even having those slanderous words said against you, yeah, you know, then the hurt. Do you want this? Do you want this? And you just won't see what will come out of all that. You know, for the next generations, your children, whatever, or a business that'll come out of it, or relationships flourish, things like that, peace in your home. If you keep going, Emma, that's what's on the other side. You're gonna build something bigger, like Paul did. Paul, like, you know, along with the disciples and Peter, you know, built the church. So, not that I'm gonna build a church, but you know, you build stuff on, well, who knows what God's gonna do, I don't know. But there's something on the other side that's important, that is built on your foundation of this struggle. Yeah, and we need to keep that in perspective. So we do. God gives me all sorts of dreams, but those dreams last night, yeah, they sort of did worry me a wee bit, as in, like, am I not doing what God's telling me to do? I don't know. So I'll pray to him about it, but yeah, so maybe to keep that in perspective, is the struggle that you're going through, there's so much more on the other side, there really is. And you know, it says in Habakkuk, you know, write down the vision, because surely it'll come to an end. And in those dreams there is an end. I do find where I need to be, but how long that lasts for, who knows? You know, your struggle, but it does come to an end. I just hope it comes to an end soon, because I'm tired. And I thank God for his grace and mercy, because he knows I'm tired. And he's still speaking to me. He's still like, come on, Emma, get on it. I don't want to go. I'm so tired. But anyway, you keep going, keep persevering, keep going to church, keep like rioting on the devil, you keep praising, keep worshipping, keep pushing through, you keep praying, keep fasting, you keep your eyes focused on God, on the prize you're needing to get somewhere, and ask him to focus our hearts on him. Don't look to the left or the right. Don't be distracted by all the musical, all the things that were going on in that shopping centre. Everybody was like on games and playing things and going out of the shops, and it was just so busy. You know, the whole world's distracted, and I'm just trying to get to this one place. Yeah, so maybe that might help someone if you reflect on your own life and how that fits in there. I don't know. So that's my dreams from last night. Yeah. Anyway, I'll speak to you again.